So there are 5 main ways to learn and improve as a dentist. And over the last 6 years, I have tested each and every one of these 5 methods that I'm going to go over. And I've tested them over and over again. And the only problem is they all kind of suck. And to put it in better terms, they each have cons, okay? So what I'm going to go over in this video is the 5 methods of learning from worst to best. The biggest mistakes that 99% of dentists make when trying to improve their skills or their dentistry, and the one thing that you can truly do to maximize your learning and get the highest ROI on your learning investment. And your confidence, of course, when applying these skills, when you're putting them into action. Okay, so number 1 is YouTube videos, like this one. YouTube videos are the lowest barrier to entry, right? They're free, they're accessible. You're probably listening to this in the car or on your couch or wherever you are. So naturally, everyone is tempted to rely on YouTube videos for knowledge, right? Because it's free. It doesn't require much effort. But the problem with YouTube videos are, although there's some great knowledge out there, like the videos on my channel, for example, and the great videos from a lot of experienced dentists, there's also a lot of unvetted and quite frankly, dangerous advice that you can follow, okay? Or things that you shouldn't even be doing. And that's natural. That comes with anything that is free, right? So ultimately, what you learn is down to your discretion and you have to know what to filter. On top of that, because it's free, you're much less likely to even implement anything and more likely to just keep binge watching. Only like 1% of viewers actually take action and implement things that are taught on YouTube. On top of that, for YouTube videos, there's like no context, there's no progression, and certainly there's like no one to tell you when you're misinterpreting what you see. So learning how to perform complex or even simple procedures on YouTube can be extremely dangerous, right? For multiple reasons. It's great if you're already like skilled at some certain procedure, for example, or you're just looking to better a different way to do it. Like a few of my videos that I have on YouTube that I've released here that are from my course module, like the palo poncho technique, right? If you've been suturing a different way and you already know how to do all the neck surgeries, it might be helpful to you, but not so much if you've never done one, okay? And with all that to say, I would definitely not recommend learning solely through YouTube. It's a good starting point. It's great for general knowledge, if you find the right source, that is. But that is it. Now, method number 2, textbooks. Textbooks are the foundation of our profession. We learn through them. But I'm sure you all know too well, theoretical knowledge rarely translates directly to confident techniques or real-world experience. Textbooks are great for universal principles in medicine, or like what to do, what not to do, what to be aware of, and so on. But real-world experience, just as business knowledge or reading about a procedure and performing it, are worlds apart, right? And then now with AI, it's becoming even harder for people to pick up their textbooks. Not that you should trust everything that AI models tell you, but you can easily reference textbooks based on a specific question that you have and get the answers and cross-check right away. And that's not to say that you shouldn't read, okay? Reading is a lost art, and there's a lot of information that we tend to forget as we're practicing. But improving business-wise and clinically, you're not going to get much from a textbook. Number 3, CE courses. The dentist's favorite, my favorite, especially if you're a business owner, right? You can make a little bit, like a little vacation, a little trip out of your learning experience. I actually love CE courses. I just finished a 9-month continuum in Chicago on implant knowledge. The right courses, they're amazing, and the ROI can be amazing too. But we've all been in this position, okay? And that position is you spend $1,500 or $6,000 on a weekend course. Instructor shows perfect cases and perfect outcomes and great techniques. Maybe you practice on a model or something. You leave inspired on Sunday, but then a month later, you're back to where you started. The problem with CE courses are that it all looks and sounds good in theory, and then it will work amazing if you have the patients lined up and you implement right away. There's no contingency plan, right? What happens when the perfect scenario doesn't arise? What if you don't see the specific patient that you trained for a month? What do you do when things don't look exactly the way that they did in the presentation, or you need to pivot in real life? Who are you asking for advice if that happens? There's no real implementation plan. So while it gives you the dopamine of envisioning the best case scenario and practicing the perfect dentistry, it's just not always practical and still leaves many dentists confused and unable to problem solve. And many aren't even prepared for the scenarios that weren't covered. And on top of that, like I said, who can you reach out to right away and get direct feedback that is ongoing? Very few CE courses offer after course support. So 30 days later, you are back in the same spot looking to invest in another CE course. And this by no means is me saying that CE courses are a no-go. Like I said, I love them, but just don't rely on them and don't become a CE junkie for the sake of taking CE courses and vacations and consuming and not doing anything. And before I get into method number 4, what you'll notice so far is that clinical excellence isn't about information. The information is out there, but still 90% of dentists still have doubts. Like I said, we have AI now. It's information galore, right? We've never had access to so much detailed information as we do now. But people still hesitate, and quite frankly, they don't feel ready or confident in their dentistry. And I know this because I felt the exact same way a few years ago. Then I actually realized what was missing from my dental education. After spending like $50,000, even $100,000 almost, and countless of hours trying to level up my skills, I discovered that clinical excellence isn't just about information. It's about implementation, action, and changing fundamentally as a person. Now, method number 4 is big name academies. With that said, one avenue that is actually quite a good method, okay, is the big name academies. Only problem is they cost upwards of like $30,000 for their continuums, or even more. And then they only have like a 50%, 40% completion rate, which means you probably are not going to benefit and you'll be down $30,000, $50,000. And that's the thing that they don't tell you in these continuum courses, right? They sell you the dream of knowing everything, doing everything, that you're going to learn a lot. They give you a shit ton of information, content, binders, techniques, and so on. But they always leave out the fact that the majority of people don't even complete these, okay? Or barely implement them in the real world. They are designed for information delivery. And like I said, it's not successful implementation. And that's the problem with everything on this list and the dental education system as a whole. It's too focused on the theory side and the dopaminergic side, and best case scenario side, cool, interesting technique side. But dentistry is a practical profession and a business, and it's hands-on, which is why dentists are left reliant on these educational models, and there's no real implementation unless you take things into your own hands. Okay? You're going to be stuck in a cycle of invest, try, invest again, try again. However, number 5 is the education model that I have found that works the best, at least for me. Mentorship, the most valuable approach to dentistry when it's available, or really any industry out there. When you have a mentor that you are able to shadow, you're able to ask nuanced questions or specific questions to, and they can teach you what to do in every case scenario or business case scenario that you're encountering for your business, and not just the best case scenario. That's when you start to develop a true understanding of dentistry and the business side of dentistry. And you start to feel more confident and you realize what's actually possible from someone that has already done it or has done what you want to do. The only difficult thing is actually finding a skilled mentor who has the time, the willingness, and the ability to guide your growth. And as with anything in life, if it comes with a lot of value, it's likely not going to be cheap either. But the ROI is going to surpass any learning method. I can tell you that from personal experience. And that's the secret that I found. That's the one aspect that has separated the dentists who I know and the dentists who stay stuck in the same place from the ones that see amazing results and actually end up implementing and getting shit done. It's the guided coaching aspect. It's just different to teaching or demonstrating. It's ongoing, it's personalized guidance as you implement new skills. And this isn't unique to dentistry. Like I said, this is a universal principle among high-performing individuals in the world. Every high-level musician, athlete, executive, coach, they all have coaches. You're not just told what to do. They help you navigate the complexities of the real world based on your specific circumstances. They provide accountability, which is very important when you're lacking it. They accelerate your learning by preventing you from making the mistakes that they've already made. And they light a little bit of a fire under your ass, which we all need. In dentistry, we have somehow convinced ourselves that we need to figure it all out alone after dental school. And that the struggle is just part of the process, but it doesn't have to be. By the way, interesting fact that I'm reading off of here that I heard the other week. Performance psychology. Basically, they study the top performers and they show that coaching accelerates mastery by about 300% compared to self-directed learning. And it's because of everything that I have mentioned earlier. Also, over the past few years, I've pretty much identified the 4 best ways that you can learn as a dentist. Regardless of what method you use, you need these 4 essential things. First is the real clinical case exposure, which makes sense. Second is progressive skill building, also makes sense. Third is ongoing coaching, someone who understands your specific challenges and helps you overcome them. Someone who's available when you hit roadblocks, who can review your work and provide specific feedback for improvement. This is the difference between theoretical knowledge and actual practical skill. And then a 4th, very important, community support. A mentor is great, but when you're surrounded with others, peers that are facing the same challenges, sharing solutions in real time, figuring things out in real time, it gives you the opportunity to be a student and a teacher at the same time. And that's the best way to learn and the best way to grow. And there's no dental education system that is fully complete without these 4 elements in play. And that's why I created Clinical Climb. A complete system designed around these 4 elements that accelerate your growth as a clinician and a practice owner in real time. It's It's what we love doing, and it's because we know it works. We see it every single time with each and one of our clients. We know it works, and we love doing it. If you're interested, just click the link, the first link in the description, and I hope I gave you some insight into the best learning methods and how each and every one of them work based on where you're at. I'll see you in the next video.